And of course, you can leave your comments under our streams. We are talking about jobs, and where jobs are concerned, we want to specifically talk about entrepreneurship and innovation. Imagine a gathering where influential figures, policymakers, scholars, and other entrepreneurs all converge to discuss a common goal: fostering entrepreneurship, job creation, and women's empowerment in Ghana. This is the vision behind the inaugural Entrepreneurship Jobs for All, E-Jobs for All annual summit. The summit is a collaborative effort involving key stakeholders, and it aims to address pressing issues such as poverty and youth unemployment in Ghana by offering free entrepreneurship training and mentorship. So we want to understand all that's involved for this summit. So at the table, I'll start from my very far left with Professor Greg Bavington, the Executive Director, Queen's University, DDQIC in Canada. Prof, thank you for making the time to join us today. Next to him is Hadas Zuka, the PwC Global Sustainable Innovation Leader. Hadas, welcome to GTV Breakfast. And finally, Kingsley Kweku-Pinkra, CEO of CIDI. CIDI means the Community Entrepreneurial Development Initiative, and he's also the Director of Research and Entrepreneurship and Innovation at the Data Link University. Kingsley, thank you for making time. So I'll start with why this is so important, perhaps for Canada. Prof, you are Executive Director for the Queen's University. What's DDQIC and why? How are you linked to this E-Jobs for All Summit?
Well, we met Kingsley, I guess, a couple of years ago when he was going through a training program that we have online, Jim Leach MasterCard Foundation Entrepreneurship Training Program. That program flowed from some programs that we developed in Canada to tackle exactly the same problems that Kingsley's trying to tackle here in Ghana, and that's that the economy is just not big enough to provide employment for all of the students coming out of university. So the challenge is for them to, create their own opportunities, create their own businesses, which will in turn create employment opportunities for others while solving some of the real problems in the country. So we developed this program together, Queens and CIDI, and the very first cohort has just gone through the program, and the intake for that cohort was 1,000 students. So that's already getting to a point where there can be some real economic impact.
1,000 people benefited from the program.
That's correct.
Was it a summit? Was it a What form did it take for these 1,000 people?
We've taken exactly the same curriculum, the same training that we use at our Innovation Center in Kingston, which is not just business education. It's design thinking, systems thinking, for sure business education, and project management, venture financing, everything. We've taken that same curriculum and put it online in an asynchronous online format, so students can digest it at their own speed, at their own pace, and get exactly the same skill set and, more importantly, mindset that we try to foster in our students in Canada. It takes something like 6 or 8 months to go through the entire curriculum, so it's quite intensive. It's very demanding to take all of that on board, especially when you're trying to start a business at the same time. But they're just remarkable students that have turned up to seize this opportunity, to make a better life for themselves and for their eventual employees, and to make a positive impact on the Ghanaian economy. So it's very exciting for us to see this first cohort move through.
Interesting. Kingsley, why did you choose this path? You're thinking about young people, and you're thinking about connecting them to jobs.
Sure. The whole idea started way back in 2015, where we thought of having this initiative being set up to address the youth unemployment situation. In 2016, we got realized, based on the World Bank report which came out, that we are battling with about 48% youth unemployment rate in Ghana. So we thought of initially starting with a policy dialogue, of which there was a symposium being organized for some of the Council of State members, the foreign diplomats, government ministers, and other stakeholders who help in addressing the youth unemployment situation. And based on the very discussion from the foreign diplomats, the government ministers, and what have you, it came out that we can address the youth unemployment situation using 3 key pillars, with the first being entrepreneurship and innovation. The second was modernization of agric, and the last being industrialization. So I took it upon myself to find partners who share in the same dream for us to be able to address the youth unemployment situation. And thankfully, Queen's University, which happens to be the 3rd best university when it comes to impact ranking globally, accepted to be of help. So as it stands now, what you are providing is a free practical entrepreneurship and innovation training, of which whoever who goes through this practical training can be able to set up a business on his own or her own. So Queen's University does the training. We have a hybrid training opportunity. So we pick them up, we enroll them through the online training. Then the in-person one, which we are having as a summit also, comes in. We thought of not just providing the training, because there are sometimes we have some people who have already taken the lead in whatever initiative which you want to bring up. So whilst you are going through the training, we assign you to a mentor. And with that too, we are fortunate to have a great partner, which is a network of global business experts, also in Canada, being called Lidogo Incorporated. They also accepted to also come on board. So whilst Queen's University does the training, they also assist with the mentorship. In Ghana here too, we have also been able to bring on board our local expert, the successful entrepreneurs, which even throughout the summit, they have been supporting us and been there with us throughout the summit. Some being Nana Dr. Michael Ado of Kama. We have Professor Emrotu Stephen. They also championing this very initiative. So it has to do with supporting the very youth of this country for them to be able to create jobs for themselves.
How does PwC Global Sustainable Innovation Leader, that's your role, what do you do for this program?
So similarly, like Greg, I met Kingsley as part of a delegation of African young leaders to Germany, and immediately fell in love with the idea and understood the mission and the purpose behind fostering innovation to youth in order to create decent jobs and wealth transfer. And when you're thinking about building new ventures and new companies, you need to make sure that they will be future-proof, right? That they will give answer and address the needs of different stakeholders in the environment that we live today. And so a lot of the challenges that can provide a good foundation to build a business idea for is bounded with the idea of sustainability. So to build companies that combat climate change, or to build companies that provide solutions for a better, more equal society. And so throughout the program, I was working with the entrepreneurs to provide masterclasses and training, and also here in the summit, and basically to drive more creativity around the idea of sustainability and business.
So the whole idea is just to create a platform for young people to meet. Exactly. And persons like Professor Greg here, because they run programs at the university that has partnered with you to generate this tailored course for young people. Am I getting the understanding correctly? And through that course, they are getting the information that they need to have knowledge on setting up their own businesses, and also provided with mentorship, like you mentioned, to execute the plan that they may come up with.
That's the primary purpose, but there's some other things going on this week that are really important as well. We came here in person from Canada to learn more about the context, right? We want to constantly adapt our material, our curriculum, so that it's as supportive as it can be in all of the different contexts in which we deliver. We deliver this curriculum one way or the other in over 60 African countries. And to students from over 200 universities. So we want to make sure that we're as attentive as possible to the particular needs of each of those geographies. The other thing we want to do while we're learning from the people like Kingsley and the great universities here in Ghana, we want to convey as much as we've learned over the 11 years that we've been doing this in Canada to the people on the ground here, so that they can take up the charge of running the program themselves with as little involvement from us as possible. So we've held train the trainer sessions here. So the people that we use in Canada to support the in-person aspects of the content came here with me and started working with the people who will be the eventual trainers here in Ghana for subsequent cohorts.
Interesting. And how do international organizations like the DDQIC intend to pass on that knowledge to the locals that you'll be meeting here? For which reason you've come from Canada for this summit?
Well, it's really important to make that happen, but I'd almost reframe it from passing on to an exchange of knowledge. Right. We have a lot of Queen's is a fairly old university, and if I'm allowed a shameless self-promotion, Kingsley, I have good news. Last year we were ranked 10th in the world by Times Higher Education for impact. This year we're ranked 3rd and 1st in North America. So, we have some experience with this, but it's very much mostly in the Canadian or at least North American context. So I think it's really important that we work cooperatively together throughout the year, but it's really golden to have at least one opportunity during the year where we're together face to face, literally night and day. Kingsley works this very, very hard. We were at it late last night and early this morning, but and Hadass is, I'm sure, feeling the same experience. But it's important that we have the opportunity to do that so we can exchange information back and forth, right? And I can send you a letter, you can send me a letter, and we'll learn a little bit more about each other, but we'll learn so much more if we just sit together and try to accomplish something together in the same room with the students right there in front of us. So that's the whole idea.
Right. So you talked about a transfer of knowledge, of experiences, and an exchange of same with this package. So I'll put this to you, Hadass. When we talk about sustainable solutions, we are talking about solutions that will outlive us. We are also talking about perhaps green solutions, and they are very topical now because there's climate change. We want businesses from the onset to be mindful of the implications of their footprints on the earth, on the globe, and those are some of the conversations you'll be having. Help us understand how you expect this to impact at this level of the conversation at this inaugural summit.
Yeah, so I was not surprised but very happy to learn that the mindset already of the young entrepreneurs is already set on providing sustainable solutions or creating sustainable solutions. If it's looking at the whole value chain of rice production and thinking about how can we make it how can we reduce the footprint of that production? How can we package it in a more sustainable way? How can we make sure that the rice production is supporting the income of local families instead of big corporates taking over local farmlands? That's one approach. The other approach is how do we provide more access to communication, digital literacy, technology? So already when they're thinking about how can they build a business, they're thinking in this triple bottom line. They're thinking about not just a business that makes profit, but also has a positive impact on the environment and on the society. So it's really embedded already in the intuitive way that they think about their new venture.
And perhaps I can put this to you as well. There are studies that have shown that women own majority of small and medium enterprises, not just in Ghana, but across the globe. How is this thought going to be spearheaded at this summit to enable women to grow even from beyond small and medium enterprises to actually become national and international entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we have seen both in the last 2 days and with the entrepreneurs that rolled into the program that women play a huge role in, again, providing services and creating business ideas to empower other women. So if it's about providing services for women to be more digital literate and to be able to upscale themselves around digitalization and technology, or about financial literacy, or about any form of other production and taking a domestic activity and just making it more commercialized. So they have been leading in very bright ideas and in solutions that will help to empower women in society.
Okay, Kingsley, so I'll give you this then. When is this summit? What should people expect? Who are the speakers?
Okay, so for the summit, we started on Monday.
Okay.
So Monday was the opening ceremony, which we kickstarted this whole initiative. And with the Monday opening ceremony, as you earlier indicated, that it is a summit which we're having for foreign diplomats, ministers of state, and entrepreneurs. With that, we were fortunate to have the Canadian High Commissioner joining us. The whole conference has been chaired by Professor Emeritus Stephen Ade. We have Nana Dr. Michael Wadu and other people, great dignitaries joining in. Aside that, we also took the opportunity to train those who trains others on entrepreneurship and innovation, so which is a training of trainers session. So there were several professors and coordinators from the various universities in Ghana who have been invited to participate in this training program. We also thought of bringing on board the government ministries, particularly the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, for them also, for their staff to be trained on how they can also create jobs using entrepreneurship. Notwithstanding, we have also realized the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources through the National Alternative Employment and Livelihood Program. They are also championing entrepreneurship, using it to address the illegal mining issue which we are facing in this country. So they've also been invited to join the same training of trainer session, so they could also learn how they can use entrepreneurship to address the illegal mining situation which we are facing. And one great news is we have had a discussion on that, of which within the next month we are joining hands to use our program to address the illegal mining which we are facing in the country. That was for Monday. On Tuesday, what we did was in the morning we had a breakout session where entrepreneurs in the country, particularly those who got the opportunity to go through our program, received a practical training from Queen's University being led by Professor Greg Bavington. In the evening was a time with diplomats, a time with ministers, and a time with a business aspect, which we had a panel discussion. So with that, we have great business people, Mr. Prince Amwabing and other dignitaries also joining in to be on a panel. We have a rep, the Deputy Commissioner for Canadian High Commissioner, all being on the panel for us to discuss on how, through diplomacy to the government side and even to the business side, how we can all drive the agenda of entrepreneurship in the country. On Wednesday, what we had was a pitch competition, which was yesterday, and we gave the opportunity to the young entrepreneurs for them to pitch for cash prizes, which great initiative we've been able to come out. Some have been able to go through their prototype and testing, and their products are even ready through the support of what you have been providing them all these years. And we can testify to some of their products, which, as we speak, will even be going to the market for sales. In the evening, we had an awards. In the afternoon was a mentoring cafe where PwC which happens to be an advisory firm. We're being given the opportunity to interact with these young entrepreneurs. They discuss the very challenges which they are facing to be addressed. And we ended the evening with an awards and networking cocktail where Honorable Kennedy Japan came in as the main speaker, Canadian High Commissioner also speaking again, being also chaired by Professor Emeritus Stephen Ade. Today happens to be the final day of the program this morning, which are starting 10 to 12 p.m. And with that, we are using the opportunity to graduate all those that were being able to go through the training program. The training program has been structured in 3 ways. We have 3 stages of the program, the more or less like the foundation stage, the intermediate, and the advanced.
And they've passed through all these
They have passed through. But it's quite unfortunate. We started at 1,000, but not everyone were being able to go
So where
through.
is this happening, this graduation?
We are having it at Joyce Ababa Institute, JCC, the Design Institute Africa.
And it's at 10 a.m. this
10 a.m. this morning. So right after here, we will be journeying to go in for the graduation, and that's going to be the final activity for the summit which we have.
It sounds like you've done quite a bit in a few short days.
Sure.
Congratulations.
Sure, thank you.
For being able to put this inaugural conference together on innovation and entrepreneurship, Kingsley, and for being the brain and the driving force behind this.
Thank you.
Kingsley Kwekupeng is the CEO of CIDI. CIDI is a community entrepreneurial development initiative. He's also the director of research, Entrepreneurship and Innovation at Data Link University. He's been here with his partners, Professor Greg Bavington, Executive Director, Queen's University, DDQIC in Canada, and Hadass Suka, who is a PwC Global Sustainable and Innovation Leader. Thank you as well for the partnership and for seeing to it that young people get access to the information and the tools that they need to break out into the space of entrepreneurship using innovation technologies. We appreciate your time with us this morning. So the final day of this eJobs for All Summit is today at Joyce Abebio Institute, and there will be a graduation ceremony. All the participants who successfully completed the course provided will be graduating. So a networking opportunity has been provided for foreign diplomats, ministers, and entrepreneurs to meet, and they have exchanged ideas on the way forward for creating sustainable jobs for young people, giving them the tools they need to make that possible. So 10 a.m. to 12, that will be happening today. eJobs for All Summit, and that's what we've been talking about on this side. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll talk on some matters relating to politics after the break.